when you see like an early season like Mahomes had, like the start that he had where he's turning the ball over at a much higher rate than he ever has before, do you look at it like, man, he says he's in a slump, he's having a bad stretch, or have teams really done something different to him?
Well, I think you look at the turnovers. I mean, we that's something we have on every player, every quarterback. We call them profile tapes, and we have our fundamental tapes. So we've shown every takeaway against their offense of the season. Actually, that's something we do in the Thursday team meetings for whatever fundamental we really want to put extra attention on that week. So I mean, you pay attention to those things, but you got to look at it too. You got to take interceptions for what they are. Are they tip passes? Are they good defense? Or is it decision? Is it what are the characteristics involved in those situations? And I just think they're aggressive offense by nature, and the ball didn't bounce their way early. But just look at the last couple of games; they're doing a really good job taking care of the ball.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk about too deep patience defensively this year against these explosive offenses. Just sit back and force them to go on 10, 11-play drives. Test the patience of these offenses and these quarterbacks. Have you been seeing a lot more of that this year throughout the league? And have teams really been doing that to Kansas City?
It really depends on who you are. I think it's in how you're built offensively because, there's explosive offenses that can't really threaten the middle of the field and, don't really dictate as much two-shell defense. And when you have the ability to do that in the passing game, it obviously really helps your run game. And I think that's why it's so important for us to continue the way we're playing. We feel like we can run the football each and every week, regardless of who we're playing, and we feel the same way about the passing game. So that's what's really important. But yes, two-shell defense is something as a play caller. I know, in my time, you hope for, because when they're playing your two-shell, it puts you in a different rhythm, and patience is a good thing, because when you can control the line of scrimmage and they're in two-shell defense, you have a really, really great opportunity to control the game.
So you're okay with it versus having that itch as an offensive guy to, hey, let's throw the bomb. Let's unleash here. Let's stop with these little 6 and 7 yard gains. You're fine with that?
No, absolutely. Because I think in every game you have big play opportunities that present themselves, and it's frankly it's one of the statistics that's given to me at halftime because I want to know how many big play opportunities both sides of the ball have had and what the conversion rate of is, because it tells you a lot about the flow of the game, and something we've always coached offensively, and it's something that you remind your quarterbacks near the end of the week is don't chase the big plays, especially with our offensive perimeter. It's a big play can come off of a slant. We don't have to throw the ball 40 yards in the air to gain 40 yards. So, and that's where the offense of building it around the quarterback, and just when you have an excellent quarterback in Dak, and he's doing a great job with the decision making. Just be patient, and those plays are come. But I have no problem if they want to play a two-shell defense, because the other 50% of our offense, our run game, they have to deal with.
I'm fascinated by the kind of the choice that teams have to make, where you have to decide who you're going to kind of take away on the other team. But what do you think is more difficult to game plan for, that elite wide receiver like Tyreek, or the elite tight end that might be on a slower linebacker or safety?
The best offenses I've been a part of, the tight end is the difference maker, because he can command the middle of the field, and that's exactly what you see with Kelsey. I mean, he can run an 8-yard option route and turn it into a 17-yard gain, and he does it consistently. His yards after the catch is outstanding. It's definitely a focal point for us. So we got to really squeeze the coverage on him early and often. So the tight end or the big receiver, the ability to attack the middle of the field creates the more one-on-one situations outside. Now, as far as Hill's concerned, I mean, they do a great job moving him around and creating as many opportunities as possible to get him the ball. So, that's the other factor you got to deal with. But if I was drawing up the passing game, an elite tight end can really make a huge difference in your passing game.
Mike McCarthy here on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan. Coach, we focus on offensive line and everything on this football team more than a lot of other cities. We were hearing this last night. Can you confirm that you guys are making a switch at left guard with Connor McGovern in for Connor Williams, and if so, why?
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, lineup changes aren't part of these conversations on Friday. I mean, I'll say this: both corners will play in the game. That's for sure. That's our plan, and so that's where we'll leave that. Are
you feeling good about Tyron's return?
I'll tell you what, talking with Tyron after practice yesterday, he had a good day's work. This will be an important day for him, and if he goes full practice tomorrow, then he'll definitely have a chance to play. But we just got to see how he comes out of the rehab part of it. The goal was for him to practice all 3 days before we cut him loose on Sunday. So I haven't seen him yet this morning, so I can't really give you an update.
Coach, we know what McGovern looks like at fullback. Can you just kind of give us a reset of his skill set at guard, playing up front?
I think the best thing about Connor is his versatility. He can, I think if you go back to last year, we had him as the highest rated, lineman, at times, and we had, with the injuries that we incurred, but I thought he played extremely well. He had a really good camp. We've moved him around. He's played a bunch of different positions, and I think that's a real credit to him because, particularly in the last couple of weeks, he's graded out very high for us. So he gives you great flexibility, and he's a really good player both in the run and protection.
Coach, Connor Williams has gotten penalized quite a bit, most in the league this year. And when I'm old enough to remember when Bill Parcells was here, he would say he doesn't coach penalties. Like, how do you approach the players when they get penalized and working on techniques and stuff, or is that not something that you coach either?
Oh no, I coach them. I don't know what Coach meant by that statement, but yeah, it's definitely. I mean, the penalties are part of it, and I think that the challenge that we're under now, it's bigger than ever. The officiating is something that factors each and every Sunday, and so you definitely have to be aware of it. So, and the awareness really comes into the heightened emphasis on your fundamentals. We've always broken down the penalties in 3 areas. You have pre-snap penalties, and then you have discipline penalties and combative penalties. And the pre-snap penalties are unacceptable. It just as far as the false starts, offsides, those are things you have to eliminate from your game. And that's why we preach and spend as much time as we do on breaking down the plays in the 3 areas. I mean, the pre-snap is an important part of every play. I mean, there's a lot that can be accomplished before the snap of the ball. So the fact that the pre-snap penalties, so we obviously coach those differently, but then you have the post-snap penalties, and we break those down into two areas. One's you have combative penalties, and frankly, if your team doesn't have a few combative penalties, then you're probably not playing hard enough. So our combative penalties have been up this year compared to last year. Some of them were debatable whether you felt they were a good call or not. But the fact is that we're on the edge, and our play style is definitely different this year than it was last year, and this is all part of the emphasis. And I think our players are doing a great job of trying to be a better job, playing as aggressive and staying within the rules. And then you have the undisciplined penalties that you have to get as far as hand placement and some of the common fundamental errors that you continue to coach. So yes, I'm always coaching the pre-snap and the undisciplined penalties because you got to get them out of your game the best you can, and you kind of live with the combative penalties.